Dave here, how are you? And welcome to the second part of the external box construction for our studio pencil box. And we can sand the box joints on the belt sander. Now here I'm showing you that in action, and I can do it just by hand because the timber is still ½ inch thick, so it's not so bad. But if you want to stay safe, use a push block. If you hold the timber down with the push block, you can put more weight evenly on the joints, and you'll be surprised how good that is, rather than just, your palm. You're never sure where you got more weight pushing down on your palm or on your fingers if you're holding the timber down onto the top of the belt sander as it's turning. Now once we've sanded those and glued the bottom, and then we can sand the back off as well. And before I do that, what I do is I punch some filler in all over the place just in case my joints haven't been as good as they should have been. So there's the filler, and I've sanded it off, and it looks great. One of the features on this box is that it's nice to the touch, so that's why I used a ½ inch roundover on all of the box joints and all the way around the outside, as a matter of fact, except for the bottom of the box. Here's a tip. Get a pencil and just draw a squiggly line on every face and edge that you're going to put the roundover on. Do not put a squiggly line on the ones that you're not going to. This will be a heads up as you're turning a box over a roundover bit in the router table, or if you're doing it with a handheld router, you just go into a robotic kind of a trance and round, and you go, I rounded the wrong stupid thing. So this is just a little safety. It's so much easier to rub a pencil line off than to remove a roundover, because that's not going to happen. So there we go, we've done the roundovers. The next thing we'll pop the 1 inch core box bit, or some people call it a nosing bit, depends on which company you purchase the cutter from. Pop that in the router, and because we're not going to actually be able to see where the cuts, where the router is tracking, it's a good idea to put some stops on your fence or in your router table, so that it will be the end and also it will be the start of the cut. So I've got a bit of video here showing you that. So we rest the box against the stop on the right hand side, push the box into that, and then slowly push the box into the path of the cutter, and then we push to the left. Slide the box along slowly because it's a large chunk we're taking out in one hit, until we get to the other end. Stop, turn the router off, take the box away. You'll notice that we've got a bit of tear out here and there. That's, it's very hard to avoid that. The softer the timber, the more the tear out's going to happen. We're going to use some compressed air. So either you go around and blow onto the holes with your mouth, or go around the thing with a compressed air gun. Now if you've got a compressed air gun, you're probably aware that compressed air can be lethal. Don't aim the nozzle straight at your skin. Get an air bubble in there, it's good night, see you later. So don't do that. Keep your hands clear, wear some clothing if you want to. I'm pretty used to it, so I don't go down that path. I just make sure that I'm blowing away from me with the compressed air. Clear out all the holes, and then you've got an area you can push filler into. If you've got a big whack of sawdust in behind, and you go and finish the box and everything and put some finish on it, you'll find that if there's bits of dust in there, it will come out and you'll have these holes, and because the finish will just pull the dust out and it'll get in all. It's a mess. Blow the thing clear to start. We're putting our filler in, and make sure that when you're putting the filler in, you push it into the hole, and particularly with these box joints, push the filler into the end grain. So I'll be pushing it in, then I'll turn the box on its side and I'll push it in the other direction. Makes it stay a whole lot better. Alright, we've got all that done. Now we need to sand the box. So we're going to sand inside this area here by hand. This takes a little while. If you've got a little sanding block that's got a radius on it, you can use that. I've got Arthur's. Good on you, Arthur. Brought some stuff from the century ago, and I use it now. So clean these up with that and just go through your different grades. So we're going to do the outside of the box with sandpaper, and I use a really soft pad. You can see that deflects on my sander. The reason being, I like the feel of the grain underneath. Now, just here, you'll see This is just a quick lesson in tree growing. Each one of these dark lines is called a growth ring. You'll see growth rings on the end grain, but you also see it on a face, and a lot of people don't realize that that's a growth ring. Now during winter, the tree doesn't grow a lot, but the growth is still condensed. So it's a denser bit of timber where the growth ring is. And then you see here you've got summer and autumn, and then a growth ring. The parts in between are softer than the growth rings, and so when you sand with a soft pad, it reveals the texture, and you can feel the wave of over the rings and everything. It just feels beautiful. You run your hand over it, feels great. If you don't want to do that, of course, you can, if you don't want to be a softie like me, what you can do is go with a hard pad, and that will take it off even straight across. So as per normal, I start with an 80 grit paper, and I work my way through the grades 80, 120, 180, 220, 320. So you can hear Barry just wandering down the workshop to me. It's very cold outside today, and he's done his rounds, checked all the trees to snip and irrigate, and he's coming to see me. Come here, matey. Come and say hello. Come on. Barry's not getting any younger, are you, mate? He's about 11 years old now, and Pug in the Tub, that was a while back. So he's still hanging out with me. He's a good mate. Now that we have all of the outside sanded, ready to go, we're going to cut the shelves, and we're going to sand the inside, and sand the shelves, and put a finish on those before we put a finish on the outside. This is pretty important. Once we've got the finish on the shelves, and we'll put a little mark at the front as well, just in case the box hasn't lined up perfectly square, you might want to keep on working so that you've got a little indicator on the edge of the shelf showing you which is the front. So as you go to put it back in, you know you're the right way around. It might have a slight taper on the end. You might have to put a little taper on it to fit it in there. That's your call, depending on how good you've done your joints. How we put the shelves in, because we're assembling again now. So you cut some spaces. Now these spaces I've cut are exactly the same width that way. And they're going to be little packers that I'm going to put in just down here. They're going to be a nice piece of timber that's dead straight, and we're going to put that first shelf in down onto the packer, and then we're going to put some nails in across the back. We're not going to use glue because we've already put a finish on, so the glue's not really going to stick to a finish. Pop some nails into the end grain of that shelf. Take the spacer out, put it in the next shelf up, both sides, put the next shelf in, nail both sides as well. Now you run a square across the side so you make sure that those nails go right in the center of the shelf. Otherwise, if it comes out the side, you're going to be upset. Now the top shelf, it doesn't matter if the gap at the top shelf up to the top of the box is slightly different. We can compensate that in the last drawer or tray, whatever we want to call these things. So it's not going to be an issue. The thickness of these is going to be the thickness of our tray or drawer plus a millimetre. Not too hard, is it? Are you still following? Cool. Now we've got those in, we're going to punch them in and put a bit of filler on it. Now here's the thing, if you want this to be super strong, what you can do now is you can drill some holes in the ends in line with those shelves and put some dowels in, and you can glue those. So that will give you a solid fix if you're not happy with just nails. Personally, I'm happy with just nails. I'm not going to be climbing on these at all. All they're going to be doing is supporting a few pencils. Not a lot of weight. But by all means, if you want to be a stickler for how to do it, whack some dowels in there, front and back, and sand those off. And that's why we haven't put a finish on the outside yet. Once it's all sanded, now we can coat the outside. So you coat the outside and sand between coats, so down to 320, so that you give a key for the next coat to bond onto, and also to knock all of the little fibres off that'll stand up. When you put a finish on, you'll notice it feels a bit rough, and you go, hey, what's the story there? That was really nice and smooth. Well, that's how it happens. Sand those little capillaries that pop up, sand the tops off those, and then the next coat, and you'll say, hey, what's happened here? These are really smooth again. It's easy. So I use a water-based finish. The reason being, I don't like the timber to yellow up at all. Now, this is one that I've done. This is one that I haven't put a finish on. And you see how close they are to each other. If I'd used an oil-based finish, this one would have gone a little bit more orange. Go water-based. It's a whole lot easier. And you can clean the brushes out in water as well. All right, into the home straight, into the home straight. The last thing to do is to put felt on the bottom. This one's been put down in my workshop a few too many times, so I've got a little bit of rubbish on the bottom. So I used a stick-on felt. I just bought a roll of stick-on felt. There's a few different colours. I like green. You know, green is reminiscent of when I was younger and pool tables and all that kind of stuff, so that's why I went for the green. And you lay it on and go over the whole thing. When there's no drying, it sticks and it's stuck. When you put it down, this stuff sticks straight away. Don't muck around with it, don't get a crease in it, make sure you put it out evenly. Then you get a steel straight edge, or an aluminium straight edge, or a piece, whatever, just as long as it's straight. And you come in around about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, and then you use a utility knife. Now, we used to call them a Stanley knife when I was an apprentice, but utility knife, Irwin, Stanley, whoever made them, they'll put their brand on it. Cut all the way around the edge, then peel that last bit of felt off all the way around, and the box is finished. And doesn't it look beautiful? And it's just, oh, I love that soft feel and feel the grain coming through the box all the way around. It's just a pleasure to touch. Alrighty, so next week we're going to start on the actual trays and making the individual holders for all the pencils. That's going to be an exciting time. Thanks for watching. If you think it's worth a like, give me the thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed and you think this is interesting. Keep on coming back. See you next time. Bye.